Hello ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In today's video I'm going to be doing legal analysis of a live PD arrest in which the goal is to determine whether or not the police lawfully arrested someone. I'm going to be using objective legal analysis of the criminal procedure used to get to the point in the video, and I hope you can learn something from it. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of this content, and send me any videos you want me to provide legal analysis for. I'd be more than happy to do it. Alright, let's jump right into it.
FSU PD just called for assistance. They did a traffic stop down here on Call Street, and the subject bailed out on foot and was running eastbound, which actually the direction we're coming from.
Okay, so right off the bat, it seems that we have a hot pursuit. The officer tells us that one of his colleagues made a traffic stop in which the suspect started to run away. In the course of a hot pursuit, police generally have blanket reasonable suspicion to temporarily detain anybody who matches the description of the suspect. We have no indication how the suspect looks at this time, but presumably we'll know more info as this continues. Let's keep going.
Got limited information right now other than just a maroon jacket. I don't even think we have a physical description from them yet.
Okay, like I just said, the only description that the officer seems to have is what the suspect was wearing. Certainly, anybody who was wearing an outfit similar to what the suspect had on in that area is subject to a temporary stop under reasonable suspicion. And remember, the scope of a stop, a Terry stop, when police officers have reasonable suspicion is only to find out whether or not a crime has been committed or is in the process of being committed or not. So it's a temporary stop even if a bystander were to get temporarily detained. Alright, let's keep going.
Alright, he ran from A to Z Liquors. He came across the street, back behind the hotel.
Okay, let's just stop right here. Let's get out. Alright, we've got him locked over here on Wadsworth. Let's start getting a perimeter on Nylick or something north. Cameron, he did not come west, but right behind that parking lot there, he can cut out to Nylick.
Where's the last place we actually saw him? Running back behind the hotel, right across from the hotel that's under construction.
I don't see anything moving through here quick. This is all still pretty wet and soft. I mean, there's some tracks, but that's kind of fresh. So we lost him around the back of a, how did we end up here? Did you see him at all?
I was coming down, I was listening to them say that he was chasing him down forward. So when I came around, I saw the FSU PD officer running, and he pointed that he ran through this alley. So I came back around the back. By the time I got around the back, he was gone.
Shh, shh, I got him, come here, come here.
Okay, so before we keep going, notice how the police officer said that he got him and it appears to be in the lower level of a parking garage. I'm just going to go ahead and assume the suspect is hiding. Because the suspect is hiding in a very, I don't know what the right way to say this is, a place that is meant for someone to hide in, not a place that somebody in the ordinary course and scope of a non-criminal activity would be. So I can pretty much say that the cops have probable cause to arrest this man for at least evading arrest at this moment. And remember, probable cause is completely objective. It's a totality of the circumstances. And certainly a gentleman hiding in the basement of a parking garage seems to be probable cause for evading arrest. So let's keep going to see how this interaction plays out.
Show your hands! Do it now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Do it now! Hands out! Hands out! Hands out!
Moving in.
Hey, man, I'm down, bro. I'm down.
Taser deployment.
Oh.
Taser deployment going tip. Let's get him in a car till he's settled.
Okay, so certainly this gentleman is under arrest at this moment. Now, I can say with pretty much almost certainty that this arrest was lawful. Like I said before, they had reasonable suspicion to identify him, temporarily detain him, and they had probable cause to arrest him. But now let's pivot to how he was arrested, the use of force. I'm gonna replay the final interaction, the taser interaction, one more time.
Show your hands. Do it now. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Do it now. Hands out. Hands out. Hands out.
Okay, so at first glance, this might have seemed a little quick or excessive for the police to use a taser, but on second watch, I think it was justified. I counted in my head about 3.5 seconds where the gentleman was asked to put his hands up and get on the ground, and he did neither. In fact, he was even moving slowly with his hands down below. And notice how the police officer did not use deadly force. He simply used force meant to temporarily immobilize the suspect. So while the use of force might seem excessive, I don't think it was at this point. Certainly the gentleman knew that the police were running down to arrest him, so he could have prepared for the police interaction. So keep watching to see if we can learn anything else.
Hey, man, I'm down, bro. I'm down.
Taser deployment.
Oh.
Taser deployment going tip. Let's get him in a car till he settles down.
At the very bottom of the parking deck, Corporal. We got him.
We'll get your phone.
Make sure my car's secure.
Turn towards me.
Can I get the off me, bro?
No.
Damn.
This is the subject that fled from FSU PD. So as we're down here boloing, we kind of cleared behind the building. There's some soft dirt, no footprints. So we came back, I peeked over, actually saw his head pop up from behind the cardboard there. So we moved down here, moved in on him.
Okay, so that's important. That's kind of what I was saying before. Because the police officer saw him hiding, that probably instantly gave him probable cause to detain and arrest this gentleman.
He actually jumped up with his cell phone and kind of had it like this. Thought it was a gun for a second, especially since they already had a freaking rifle out of the truck. And then he just started immediately acting out and wasn't complying, so he got tased, taken into custody.
Okay, so everything the police officer says seems to corroborate my analysis. They found a rifle in the suspect's truck, which I didn't know before, but that is an indication that the suspect might be reasonably armed and dangerous, certainly justifying the use of non-lethal force when the suspect failed to have his hands up and didn't get on the ground in that 3.5 seconds or so. And I understand that 3.5 seconds isn't necessarily a long time, but I certainly think that the force was reasonable.
Fled with a black backpack that we're assuming is somewhere here close by, because FSU PD chased him from right up the road, and he didn't have it on when we found him, so we're assuming.
Okay, so before we get to the backpack, or if they find the backpack, the police absolutely have every right to look for this backpack for a couple of reasons. One, the suspect abandoned the backpack. He doesn't have any reasonable expectation to privacy once you abandon something in the public. Additionally, you can make an argument that they could search for the backpack in a search incident to a lawful arrest, or a SITLA. And even though the backpack might be relatively far from the suspect, depending on where it is, I don't know if it's in the garage or in the bushes or somewhere else where he was running at this point, certainly however you spin it, finding the backpack and observing the contents inside of it will be lawful and could be used as evidence if there's anything in there.
Did he throw it in the pool?
Yeah, because he was coming by, but I wanted to watch the ball.
Yeah, I jumped up here, looked in, and saw this randomly laying
It's awesome that his wallet is in it with his ID. Looks like he's got at least several ounces of cannabis. I would assume for sales, especially when they're bagged evenly like that. FSUPD is going to be taking this as from their traffic stop. And
okay, so we're going to stop there. So let's do a final review. The police had reasonable suspicion based on the police report that he got from one of his colleagues, identifying the man in a certain type of clothing. During the hot pursuit, the police officer identified the man in the basement of a garage. Nobody would normally be in a basement of a garage doing nothing at that time of night. Instantly, when that person was identified, the police officers had probable cause to arrest him. When they went down to arrest him, corroborated with the evidence that there was a rifle in his car and he might be reasonably armed, the police were justified in using non-lethal force against this man when he failed to cooperate in the 3 to 4 seconds when the police were asking him to get down and to show his hands. Also, recovering his backpack, they had every right to go and search for it. So everything here was done lawfully. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked learning a little bit more about criminal procedure. Again, please like and subscribe to this channel if you like this content, and send me a link to any videos that you want me to do further analysis on. Thanks again, and I rest my case.